Oh, okay, so we may not have even needed the SDK. I guess we can just do this. We're going to go into our build.gradle file. And let's see here, we need to put this before dependencies. We need to add this guy in. For dependencies. And now we need to add this line right here, 4.0.0. And I'm going to sync, and here we go. Now we have our emulator APK. So, okay, let me open up my terminal, and let's see here, does ADB work? Okay, that's kind of annoying. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to open up the shell on here. So to do that, there's a terminal. There's a terminal that you can open up by going to the bottom left corner of Android Studio, and ADB works by default in there. So we're just going to use that. And the way we do that is we do ADB install downloads, or wherever you downloaded the APK. And let's see here, it's facebook.apk, and that should work. So now it might take a little bit of time. Let's see what happens here. Okay, well, while we wait for it, let's see here, do we need to do anything else? Okay, so now we need a package name, right? So our package name is right here. Okay, so let's see here, I believe Facebook is installed now, yes. So there's Facebook. Let's open it up on our emulator, and wow, it crashed. That's disappointing. Why is that? Okay, well, the package name is that, and our default activity name is .main activity. Alright, so let's see here. We're going to continue to use this package name. And can I just click next? Yes. We're going to skip this stuff about logging, and I think we're good. Okay, so now let's go back. Add your add your application's Facebook ID. So now we need the Facebook ID, which is right here. We're going to head over to parse. We're going to open up settings. We are then going to go into, let's see here, released, I believe it's somewhere here. Authentication, maybe? Here we go. So here's Facebook, so we're going to allow Facebook authentication. So we need the app ID, which is right there. And let's click on this guy to, okay, so I need to, let's see here, you're going to need to type in your password, and then you're going to be able to see the app secret. And I'm going to copy the secret thing in right there, and we're good. Okay. So now, I'm going to click home again. And what does it say here? Once you get to step 6, stop after linking the Facebook SDK and configuring the Facebook. Alright, so we've already added the jar. Hold on, I think we added the incorrect jar. Let's see what we added into our project. We added in v3, but apparently we need to add in v4. So where is the parse? Let me unzip this guy again. Okay, so we need to find everything that's related to Facebook. We have this one. Oh, here it is. Parse Facebook utils v4. So this is the guy we want. We're going to get rid of this v3, paste this guy in, and we need to go into our build.gradle file and change this to v4. And now we should be good. Okay, so now there's one more thing we need to do here. That support. So in our activity result, which is in our login activity, we need to add in this method right here. So we'll actually, yeah. So what we're gonna need to do is, the method was not quite correct because we were using an outdated SDK, but we're going to want to log in with read permissions in background. So we can just pass in an array list of parameters, permissions. new array list, and we're going to be a little hack. So we're going to do this in a little bit of a hacky way. And let's see here. So this is going to be array list as a list. Permissions. And there we go. Great. Okay, so if you're wondering why we were able to do this, array lists are a type of collection, and so we're able to pass them in as the second parameter. Now, let's try running. I'm not too confident that this is going to work on our first go here. Let's see here. Parse.initialize. Yeah, so we need to pass in the context. So we're going to pass in this because every application is a context. And now let's wait for it to run. Yeah, so as I was saying, yeah, that didn't quite work. And so we got a null pointer exception somewhere. And where could that have been? At login manager. So that doesn't really help us very much. Okay, so it looks like this is a problem with the Hacksum that we're using. So we're going to instead open up an ARM-based AVD instead of an x86 one. Now this is really annoying because these guys are much slower, and so to get such great performance when using them. And so, okay, so this is going to take a while. Let's wait for it to load. Okay, so I have the emulator up and running, but now we need to reinstall the Facebook APK because it's a completely different emulator instance. So let's wait for it to install, and this could take a while. Let me show you guys the performance on this guy. It's actually not too bad. I think Google's done a lot of work to improve performance even on the ARM emulators. But let's see here. While we wait for it, let's go over our code one more time. Okay, so we are requesting the email permission right now. We're logging in with the read permissions in the background. And let's see here, yeah. Okay, so one thing I wanted to show you guys is notice how this method right here, it says the method is never used, but we know it is being used. It's only being called whenever this annotation is called. So in order to get rid of this warning, you can add another annotation right above here that says like @suppress warnings. So this annotation, it instructs Android Studio not to mark this method as unused, and so we won't get that warning anymore, which is pretty nice because it also, if you're reading your code in the future, then you know that this method is indeed being called, or if another developer is reading the code, then they know that this method is indeed being called. Okay, so let's see here. Let me open up my terminal again. And okay, so Facebook has been installed. Great. Let's open it up. Okay, so to open it up, I'm just going to click Facebook. Hopefully we don't get a crash. And let's see here. Okay, so I think this is going to work. I think this is going to work on the emulator right now. Man, so much loading. Alright, so I guess let's let it set up. And let's see here, while we wait, let me see if I can show you guys some other cool stuff. So one thing I wanted to do is I want to extract this logic into a different method. One good rule of thumb whenever you're developing really anything is to keep methods as short as possible so that each method does something unique. So in this activity result, all we're really doing is we're just listening for results from other activities. So we shouldn't be doing stuff like this where we're loading image data into bytes and then saving them into parse objects. That stuff should be in another method that is, described really well. So what I mean by that is something like this. Save photo. And the way we're going to do this is we're just going to pass in the URI, and we're just going to pass in the photo path to image. And now all we're going to do is we're just going to grab this data, put it right in here, And let's see here, we are just going to replace that guy with this right here. And then finally what we're going to do is we're just going to call the method data.getData. Now the functionality is still exactly the same, but now the methods are they more clearly describe what they do. So on activity result, it's just doing this one thing right now. It's saving the photo. And then when we're saving the photo, what we're doing is we're grabbing the byte contents, and then we're saving the photo object. Okay, so Facebook is still loading well, and let's see here. I mean, we can do some more stuff. One thing that is pretty typical is to take code like this, where you are loading stuff in and out of files, and put that in a completely separate class, so that you could use it, throughout the rest of your program. Because right now it's just restricted to main activity instances. This isn't even a static method. So what we could do, or what you should do, is we're going to create another package. We're going to call it utils, and we're just going to throw this guy in here. We're just gonna call this let's see here, file utils. Then we are going to grab all of this code, and we're going to throw it in here like that. We're going to make this method static, and now notice that in order to use a content resolver, we need a context. So we're going to pass a context in as the second parameter, and we're going to do it like this: context.getContentResolver. And now our code becomes even cleaner in our main activity, because we just do file utils.load image, and then we pass in this. And let's see here, does that work? Okay, so the method is private. We need to make it public. And there we go. So now the method works. And okay, so this is taking way too long to set up. But anyways, I'm just going to run this code now. It's much cleaner code, by the way. And before we do that, let me just add the suppress warning I talked to you guys about a little earlier. Unused. There we go. Okay. Okay, so the emulator finally loaded, and here is the Facebook app. Now, one thing that I forgot to do is we need to add two things to our manifest.xml. We need to, one, add in this application ID metadata tag, and then two, we need to add in this activity that links to basically the Facebook activity, and this lets us launch the kind of like login activity that we need, which we see right here, or I guess which we just saw. So the first thing we need to do is we need to grab the Facebook ID. So we can do that, if you remember, by, let's see here, let me create a resource first in strings, and we're going to call it string Facebook ID. And if you recall, in our authentication right here, we have the ID written right here. And let me just make sure, yes, that is the app ID. And let me call it Facebook app ID. Okay, great. So that worked. And now I'm going to run this guy again. And here we go. So now I'm going to click sign in with Facebook, and hopefully we don't, there we go, it's loading. It's a pretty good sign. Great. Okay, so now I'm going to sign in. And here we go, Facebook signing in. Okay, so now something cool is going to happen here. When we sign in, because we've integrated with parse, the Facebook user is automatically going to be created inside of this user class. So just as we have this row inside of the photo class, we're also going to have a row in the user class that corresponds to the Facebook user that we just signed in. In this case, that was just my Facebook account. Now this could take a while, so let's just wait for it. And okay, so it finished loading. I'm just going to give it access to my profile here, an email address. And there we go. Let's see. There we go. There's our user object. As you can see, it has the pass. So as you can see, it has this username right here, but I mean, it's just random junk for now. Anyways, so this wraps up integrating Facebook and Parse together, logging in with a Facebook user, and then using the Android emulator and Facebook. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.